What's up, guys? Melikan here again from MKAU, bringing you the latest and greatest in gaming news and reviews. And this is part 2 of our Magic the Gathering Foundations unboxing, because I wasn't expecting the previous video to go so long. There were so many cards. So again, I'd like to say a huge thank you to Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering for sending this on through so that we could open it up for you. Now, if you haven't had a chance to go and watch the previous video, Foundations is basically bringing back old versions of, old series cards. So bringing back cards that I remember from my past, as well as cards from, I guess, the recent future, well, not future, the recent past, present, as well as, according to the material we were given, some stuff that future players might like as well. Hint, hint. But yeah, effectively, it's just sort of going back to its roots, bringing back some of its older stuff, with a very heavy focus on the original version of Magic the Gathering. So part of this release, if you haven't already seen my previous video, which does go on for a little bit of time, included the beginner box here. So effectively what this is it has 2 instant play decks. Now, if you haven't heard of them before, jumpstart decks. Basically, it's a pack similar to this with 20 cards in it. You don't get to choose what 20 cards are in there, but they are all very heavily themed on something in particular. So I do recommend that you go back and watch that video to get a bit of an idea, because the 2 instant play decks, they are not 60 card decks for the people that used to play. They are 2 of the jumpstart decks that have been set up and ready to play. So your jumpstart deck, you can open the pack, distribute your land cards, shuffle, and jump straight into playing. That is effectively what these 2 instant play decks are. So for all intents and purposes, it is actually 10 of the jumpstart decks, as well as some dice, as well as the reference guides. There's a lot in this box, so I would recommend that you go back and check out that video. Otherwise, the focus of this one, first and foremost, is going to be our starter collection. So what this one has is everything you need to build your own Magic the Gathering decks and establish a solid foundation to any Magic card collection, including over 350 cards, with essential staples for any color and any way you want to play. Now, when I was in school, I played a sliver deck, and it was nasty. I would love for some of those cards to be in here, especially since they are bringing back some cards from the past. I wish I knew where that deck was, because it was so much fun to play with. So we've got 350 cards to go through here, plus 3 play boosters. So there's 3 of those in there as well. There is a storage box similar to what you would see in this pack here. I'm assuming this is a brand new product to the range, same as the other box that we just got rid of. So I did initially, for the previous video, say some very confusing things about the beginner box, but that's because I had no idea what I was looking for and no idea what I was expecting, because brand spanking new. These are not as new. They do these bundle packs quite a bit. They 9 play boosters, as well as a spin down life counter, also known as a D20, 20 traditional foil and regular basic lands, 9 14 card play boosters, so those ones, and then an alternative art traditional foil Phyrexian Arena. That is a specific card. Everything that's in here, just like these, is completely random. But we're also going to open a couple of collector boosters. So these are the ones that if you're a card collector, you really want to get your hands on. But we'll tidy up a little bit, and I'm going to quickly open this one up for you just so you can see what is in the box and how it's all nicely laid out. And then we are going to dive into unboxing 350 plus cards. So this is probably going to be another long video. But having said that, we'll see you soon. So diving on in, we have our bundle here, and unlike previous videos, I know now that we take this and we do that. That was very satisfying. I don't know if you heard that because the camera is pointed towards me. But if we open it up, pull out the contents, we have our card box. We have on this side some artwork. And if we flip it over, we then have some information on what you can get for Magic the Gathering Foundations. So we have our beginner box, which we opened in the previous video. We have our starter collection, which is over there. And we are going to be opening that after this. We have our jumpstart boosters, which is what I thought was going to be in our beginner box, but I was wrong, and I do apologize for the incorrect information. We do have our commander decks, which according to this, if I bring that closer to the camera, is our most popular Magic format around. 4-player Mayhem awaits. I've never played Commander. So when I was playing, it was all about what Foundations is all about. We have our collector boosters, which we're going to open some of those. And then there are the play boosters as well, which are not advertised on here, but whoop, that is what is inside here, times 9, as well as another 3 in this. And we're going to open a couple of them, but there are a lot of cards to go through. So we are going to dive right in and get started, as I said before, but then I started talking. So first and foremost, this is our card box. So got some interesting art. I mean, it's good art, don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to figure out what it is. Initially, I thought it's a dog. Now I'm thinking maybe it's an alien, or I don't know. But if we pop the lid off, we can see what's inside. And down here, we have our spinner counter, which is black with glitter through it. These two here, as always, we have land cards and foil cards. At least I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So we'll just quickly pull one of these open, just to make sure. So these should have 20 cards So there's 20 land cards here. So what do we got? There's 2 plains, 2 islands, move that out of the way, 2 swamps, 2 mountains, 2 forests, and then we have extended art as well. So we get a couple of each in terms of, I guess, a normal land card. And then we have these absolutely gorgeous extended art land cards. They are still just basic in terms of gameplay, but as you can see with the additional space, the artists have been able to go to town with what they are putting on there. And you can still quite clearly see what it is that they are trying to represent. So they are our 20 land cards that are mentioned on the box. So part of that, can't remember if I flipped this over before. We hit the lights. 20 traditional foil and 20 regular basic lands. So if we pull this open, I'm pretty sure this is going to be foil land cards. And then it also mentioned on the box, which I've just popped off to the side, an alternative art traditional foil Phyrexian arena. So pop that off. Also, before I do that, in that pack, there was also these reference cards. And of course, as always, if there's anything you want to look at a little bit more, pause the video. It'll still be here when you're ready. So we have our Phyrexian arena. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card, you lose a life. I don't like that. That seems nasty. What's the benefit of this? It's an enchantment. You can give this to another player. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, you go. Here you go. Thank you. I put that on your side. If you draw a card during your upkeep, you lose a life. But anywho, we have our foil land cards. So these are, at this stage, the same artwork as the ones I've previously shown you, but shiny. So still got an incredible art style, but there's a little bit of a, I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Yeah, you kind of can. As you can see, a little bit of a mountain view in the background here. Well, at least that's what it sort of looks like to me. But then we get to the forest card. Yeah, it still looks like a little bit of a mountainscape in the back. And then we move on to our full art cards, which again are the same as the ones we've seen previously, but shiny. I do like the shiny. I must have been a crow in a previous life or something, because everything has to be shiny. Alright, and then this somehow is a little bit damaged. I'm not entirely sure how, because it was protected by that. But we have our +1/+1 tokens, and these are cards, so they can just simply pop out. Now, these are only one-sided cards. They are also quite difficult to pop out. We have this card artwork here. We also have this, which I'm still at a loss as to what this is supposed to represent. We have another nicely sized piece of artwork there. And then we have, this is the, whoa, just drop everything. This is the downside to the card. That was actually a lot harder to rip than it should have been. But not sure what this is supposed to represent. Anywho, moving on. This is our card box. It is for cards. And then in there are our play boosters as promised. And as promised, there are 9 of them. So that is pretty stock standard for one of these bundles. But as you can see, everything that is in here, perhaps with the exception of the lands, because they're land cards, is for the Foundations range. So when you open one of these up, it's going to be the Foundations cards, but as mentioned, they are going to be cards from previous generations of Magic the Gathering, or previous series of Magic the Gathering, because the idea is that they want players to be able to take a variety of cards from the past and the present and use those cards together, because realistically a series should only last, if I remember what Vex told me, a series should only last a couple of releases before you can't really use it again, unless you're playing against somebody who is playing a series that falls within that time frame. Or if you're just having a little fun game at school, who cares? Do what you want. They're your cards. It's your game. Do what you want. The only time it's really going to become a problem is if you're playing in a tournament. But yeah, otherwise, imagine I've unpacked these, and these are the cards, and that there's a lot more than what is currently here. They'd all sit in there like that, nicely. And maybe, now that I think about it, I wonder if I can get this out without breaking it. Because it can go one of two ways. It can be really easy to get out, which this one's proving to be fairly easy. Or, like that was, they can be difficult. But I wonder. Oh look, there you go. Use them as spacers. That's probably what they're for. But I never paid much attention. There you go. That is our Magic the Gathering Foundations bundle. So what you get in here, completely random. What you get in those packs that came in this, that's what you can expect. Plus a dice or a spinner counter. So that's 20. That's 1. That means you're alive. That means you're close to dead. It would also help if it was closer to the camera. That means you're alive. That means you are dead. That means you are... No. That means you are very close to dead. That means you are dead. More specifically, you've lost the game. Please don't play this to actually... Yeah, don't. So yeah, I'm going to stop the recording. I'm going to tidy up. It's going to take me about 5 minutes, but for you it's only going to be a second or so. And then we are going to get to some exciting things, such as the starter collection. Welcome back. I hope I didn't keep you waiting too long. We're going to crack this one open, which is probably the one I'm most excited for, to be completely honest. It's, if we flip it over, bring it a little bit closer to the camera. As you can see here, gain an instant collection. This truly astounding box boasts over 350 cards with essential staples for any color and any way you want to play. I am hoping that there's slivers. Enjoy old and new favorites alike as you build your first or 15th deck with included tutorials and expert recommendations. So, this is somewhere that I went wrong in the previous video. I thought that there was something about combining the other cards into a deck with sort of suggestions. That's not the case. That's what's in here. But 350 plus cards, as well as 3 Magic the Gathering Foundations play boosters. So there's going to be another 3 of these in there. It would also help if I didn't just throw it on the ground and left it straight. So there'll be 3 more of these on top of everything else we've already got. There is a click wheel. So this is a little bit different to this. And that by the looks of it, this can go up to 99. And one of the decks I used to play with outside of high school was all about gaining as much life as possible. And while it was good against most decks, it was absolutely terrible against poison decks. But anyway, we've got a little bit of plastic on this one. We're going to cut that open, or rip it open. Try it, there we go. And let's see if we can get some ASMR. So, surprisingly, I've only just sort of noticed, but this box is substantially heavier. If we leave that there for a moment, substantially heavier than what this one was. And I've only just noticed that. This has, I think it's 240 cards in it, as well as a few other things, including a cardboard fold-out playmat, 2 of, and a couple of books. This has 350 plus cards, a storage box, a click wheel, and 3 play boosters, which are a further 14 cards in each. Now, let's see, because we've also got another one of these tear things, if we can get... Oh, that sounded really good through the headphones. Hopefully it sounds good when I edit it and put everything together. Alright, this is now empty. Pop that off to the side. We got different artwork this time, and it's shiny. So this is our card box. Same sort of situation as this one, which I've just knocked all those cards inside over now. But shiny as opposed to not shiny. Now we've just lost some more stuff. That's okay, we're focusing on this. Right. So first up, we have our deck builder's guide. So this is, okay, so in most constructed formats, your deck must have at least 26, that's 60 cards. Choose 1 or 2 colors to build with at first. You can play up to 4 of any card except for basic lands. You can have as many as you want. A typical deck will have 24 to 26. We used to do it a little bit differently. We used to do 20. And then the rest, as long as you didn't have more than 4 of any type of card, again, except for land, it was 40 of, if you wanted, 40 creatures. If you wanted, 40 spells, 40 instants, a mixture of any of those. But this is what they recommend to get you the basics at least. Sorting your cards by color and type will make it easier to build decks. As we've seen, I'd drop cards down, and then when I tidy them up, I just sort of grab them. They're not sorted. They never are. Here we go. This gives us a bit of an idea as to what we can expect to see in here. So, 26 traditional foil cards, 90 basic land cards, 250 other cards, click wheel life counter, a reusable storage box, including dividers, and 13 tokens. And then if we start going through the book, this is a little bit easier to read than the previous one because it's not all over the place. Maybe not so much on the camera though. But yeah, white value teamwork. White mages, deploy massive armies to overwhelm your forces. So gain life with spells and lifelink creatures. Go wild on the battlefield by playing several small creatures at once. Use spells and abilities to protect yourself from opponents' creatures. Blue mages value knowledge. Outthink your opponents and neutralize their strengths. So counter opponent spells. There you go. I think I said that previously. Maybe it was the previous video. I can't remember now. Draw extra cards and evade opponents' defenses with flying creatures. Black mages value power at any cost. Use death, decay, and ruthlessness to get what you want. Destroy creatures with spells, drain life from opponents, and bring dead creatures back from the graveyard. That was something that was always annoying until I played the guy that ran the poison deck. That was worse. Red mages value freedom, fire, and war aggression. Fire magic, and I'm an editor for this website. Far out. Fire magic and war aggression fuel your battle strategy. Essential tactics: attack quickly with haste creatures, discourage opponents' creatures from blocking, and deal damage with burn spells. That's another thing I said previously. Green mages value nature. Summon primal forces to do your bidding. Ramp up your mana resources, giving you more to spend sooner. Yes, I can remember a couple of green decks that I used to play against. It was, I've got this creature which gives me all this extra stuff. Make creatures stronger with spells and abilities. That's something I used to enjoy doing with my Slither deck, which was not a green deck. Actually, I think the only color I didn't... No, I had every color mana in that deck. Wow, okay. Overwhelm opponents' defenses with trample creatures. And then it goes on to talk about building around synergy. So using either the same types of cards or using mana that sort of not counterbalances, but effectively with this organizing to deal damage, with fire organizing to deal damage, or red, mountains even, and then blue islands working to prevent the enemy from casting spells. Those two kind of work hand in hand. But then you've got creatures that work hand in hand. as well as doing things just all sorts of weird, such as putting a enchantment on something that just doesn't seem like it should be enchanted. Maybe. Gives you an idea of how to set up your mana within your deck. Now, obviously, this will change as you shuffle your deck, but it's sort of trying to give you an idea of how many mana you should be getting per turn. What I said, I believe it was in the previous video, is because we had 20 land cards. I know that's only 2, but in this case it's 20. 20 land cards to 40 of everything else. For every 2 of everything else, we'd have 1 mana card in there. So it'd be spell, spell, mana. Spell, spell, mana. That way, when you shuffled the cards, you had a decent spread of mana within the deck. That's how we did it. This goes through how they recommend doing it. And then, obviously, we want to play and refine the deck. So you want to play it, you want to see how it goes, you want to try and potentially make adjustments, take some things out, put some things in. More a case of out and then in. And just a quick reference, which is just a nice quick breakdown of basically what's already in here. So yeah, if you've never played before, or if you've never played the original format of Magic the Gathering, this is a great way to figure it out. It's a great little way to not necessarily teach you how to play, but get ready to play. So this is more for teaching you how to play, because it will give you, it's like 10 effectively ready to play jumpstart decks. That's including the instant play decks, which have been pre-shuffled, ready for you to be able to play. And then there's the 8 jumpstart decks, which are just 20 cards, 7 of which are land cards, the other 14 are creatures, spells, enchantments, so on and so forth. So this will teach you how to play very quickly. And then when you want to play and do so with a normal deck, that is where you would go and get this box that I'm just trying to make look a little bit tidier, which will give you more than enough cards to build a deck. So let's have a look inside. There's a lot in here. This thing's quite heavy. Whew. Okay. So. Ooh, that's got a satisfying click. I'm just going to spend the rest of the night doing that. Rest of the video. Okay, we have our 3 play boosters, as promised. We'll put that down here too. We have what's this supposed to be? Okay. It would have mentioned it in that booklet, but I wasn't actually expecting these to be separate. So we're just going to dive in and open these up, because that's what we're here for. We'll also alrighty, so we have the Arcane Signet. Add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. I'm guessing that's a commander deck card then. We have a Soul Ring, which add. I'm assuming that's supposed to be 2 of anything. But normally it would be a circle with a 2 in it to say add. What is that? And then a Command Tower, which is also adding 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. So I'm assuming these are focused around commander. Again, I've never played. Let me know in the comments below, because I'm curious. In fact, I'm curious enough yeah, okay. It doesn't stipulate anything in here. I also hadn't closed that properly before. Anywho, let's move this back across here. We have some cardboard. This does nothing except for hold that and space the cards a little bit. So we'll get rid of the cardboard. Pop that there. These here are just our dividers to go in the card box like so. And then we have our 350 plus cards. So this is going to take a while, guys. I'm probably not going to talk through this because there's a lot to go through. There is so many to go through. But to give you a bit of an idea, because I just noticed that the light was reflecting on these. Each of these is about roughly 120 cards based on what I've just opened recently tonight. Then I'm guessing this is the lands and everything else. So what we might do, pop those there for the moment. And we are just going to quickly go through these, but they are in plastic, so we all know what that means. Oof, so satisfying. Okay. So we're just going to go through these quickly until we get to something that is not a land card. And then once we finish that, I'm going to cut the video and we are going to move on. Because I'm going to have to pack up. Because this is going to make a mess. Because there's a lot of land cards here. Especially a lot of plains cards. Why so many plains cards? Okay, now we're on to something else. We're on to the islands. Speedrun boys and girls. And everybody who identifies as something else. We are speedrunning this thing. Speedrun. Oh, there we go. We're on to a new one. Sorry, I'm looking through the camera. I'm not actually looking at the cards. Let's look at the cards and try and put them on screen so that people can actually see what I'm flicking through here, because there are a lot of these to go through. So the good news is there's pretty much enough cards that if you wanted to make a completely red deck, or a completely blue deck, or a completely green deck, or a mix of any of the above, you've got all the mana you need to build whatever it is you want to build. And that's something they certainly were not lying about, because, dear God, oh, what's that? Okay, now we're on to tokens. Wow, that was a lot of cards. Okay, so one token down. We have another soldier, and I'm assuming another fairy. Yes, we do. Okay, soldier, fairy. We then have a kitty cat. 1/1 creature. And a Phyrexian goblin. Another 1/1 creature. Same deal. We then have a cat beast. And a dragon. Two very different things. Followed by a good boy and a not so good boy, which I'm assuming this is going to be the same. Kind of. Different artwork. There we go. Same creature, but different artwork. Well, I mean, not the same creature, but the same type of creature. If you played this before and it says put down a beast token or put down a cat token, for example, you'll know what I mean. A beast and a creature, technically two different things when it comes to Magic the Gathering, because it all depends on what that word at the top of the card says. So if it says all elves get +1/+1, that gets +1/+1. That does not. But we have another elf. And another rat. Ooh, what's this one? Ah, that's cool. This token can be used to represent something of something else. And a human. Well, I'm not seeing anything in regards to slivers yet, but still got those to open. And then we'd also have these as well, just a couple of references on how to play the blocking and attacking and the battlefield. I've shown you these before. Let's get this tidied up so that we can open up Lyra here. Okay, so we've got Lyra here. Before I do that, first rule of Magic the Gathering: organize your cards into their respective mana types. I did what I said I always do. I just grabbed and yeah. Anyway. Lyra Dawnbringer, legendary creature, angel. Also currently wrapped in plastic. So we are going to have to do a little bit of a speed run on this one as well, because we are running out of time. But there are some very nice cards in here. Oh, that's quite a nasty card. I also thought for a moment it was going to be a creature token or something. Gilded Lotus. Add 3 mana of any one color. That's a great way to get mana quickly. Angel of Vitality. If you would gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead. That's kind of cool. This creature gets +2/+2 as long as you have 25 or more life. Angels are a nasty deck in terms of gaining life. But this is a pack of about 120 cards to go through, plus those as well. I'm really hoping to find a sliver one of my favorite cards, and I really wish I knew where it was the Sliver Queen. Once I had that, a couple of flying slivers, a couple of, can't remember what the other ones were, but there were slivers that gave them trample. There was another sliver that gave them strikes first. There was another sliver that gave them plus this, and another sliver that gave them that, and I almost had 4 of each. So if I got to a point where I had all the good ones out, my slivers could fly. They effectively struck first. They then had trample, so even if you did block them, any damage that you couldn't block rolled through. And with my Sliver Queen, I'd pay X amount of mana per turn, and I would get a 1/1 Sliver token. But because I also had some of the ones that gave them plus attack and plus defense, they could potentially be +4/+4, and because they were, because they had the Sliver keyword, they got trampled. They got strikes first. They got all the bells and whistles. So yes, people did not really like playing against that deck, which is understandable, but 9 times out of 10, actually probably closer to 50% of the time, I couldn't get out the cards I needed because it had creatures from every color deck in it, being slivers, which meant that if I was playing with only 20 land cards, I only had 4 mana of each type, or 4 cards of each type of mana. And that did not make for a particularly well-balanced deck, but I insisted on having everything that I wanted in there. And I've also just realized that I may not have previously been giving the camera enough time to focus on the cards, because we've got a lot to go through. So I've been trying to get this done quite quickly. But I'm definitely seeing some nasty cards in here. There's so many cards. Hence this overall video being a little bit of a two-parter. The other thing to keep in mind is that I'm pretty sure, in fact I'm almost certain, that what you are currently seeing is me knocking the camera, but also if you buy one of these boxes, this is what you're going to get in this, not including the booster packs, because they are completely random cards. But these ones are specifically selected to aid you in building your deck the way that you might want it. Alright, that's what, assuming it is 120 cards per one of these, that's 240 cards down. Again, I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to pack this up, and I'm probably going to do it the way that that book says not to. And we're going to move on to these. Alright, moving on, we're going to dive straight into Moment of Craving. Whoa, drop the camera, not the camera. Drop the cards, almost knocked the camera. throw that off to the side. And now we can look at the cards. So I'm not going to go through this as quickly. I'm going to make sure that everything is as focused as possible. However, when I notice a double, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to pull the card and its double so that we're not looking at the same card several times. But we might not see doubles until a little bit later. But as we scroll through, don't forget to drop a comment below. Let us know what your favorite card is and what you would like to see potentially return, because I've spoken about slivers a lot. And so far, you guys have said nothing. Although you're not exactly here, so you can't comment like I can. And it's getting quite late, which is why I've gone a little bit loopy. I'm also trying to get this done before my camera decides it wants to go flat, because we have had so many cards to go through back to back. But we are seeing some gorgeous artwork, as always, as we've all come to expect from Magic the Gathering. And I'm feeling a little bit of a theme as we're going through these. I want to call them sleeves. Let's call them packs. It's almost like one pack was filled with 2.5 or 1.5 mana pools, and then the other one 1.5, 2.5. I guess we'll see when we get to this one. But that's the only sort of theme I thought I could see. But I could very well be wrong. Oh, there we go, that's a double. There are definitely some cards here that are bringing back some memories from high school specifically. But I am still yet to see a sliver. I mean, there's no guarantee that I'm going to see one. It'd just be really cool. Especially if, like, one of the cards that they put in here was the Sliver Queen, because that card was just, yeah, I've already discussed it. I don't need to repeat myself again. Alright, so maybe we're starting to get onto artifacts. Definitely seems to be a theme. And now we're on to a couple of combination land types. Except for that one's not a combination. Neither is this one. This one is. So is this one. So the combinations were really good, especially if you were playing a combination deck. You had a couple of these combination land types in there, which, being land type, thought that was a token. Being land type, You can have, I'm pretty sure, was it basic land type? I don't remember now. That's a duplicate. Land types, you can have more than 4 of any individual card, but I don't know if that goes for gates. Vengeful Bloodrich, that's kind of cool. Still no slivers, and I've got just over 120 more cards to go through. We're currently on some land cards. I'm not liking my chances, but there we go. We'll get this packed up, and then we'll open up the Consuming Horror, or the Consuming Aberration, sorry. I read this bit. Anyway, we're going to open up this next. Okay, lucky last before we open up a couple of boosters, the Consuming Aberration. Got it right that time. So, more plastic means more of that. But as we go through, have a nice little look at the cards. I'm still actually yet to see any that I used to have in my decks. There was an Angel that I had, and effectively what it used to have is it had an ability where if I tapped it, all damage was directed to that one card, and then I had an enchantment on it. I can't remember what the enchantment was called, but it was some sort of armor. And what it did, that card feels thicker than the others. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, what that enchantment did was any damage that creature would take was reduced to 0. So effectively, that one card would tank all damage directed at me, and then it was my go. That was always a fun thing to do. Took a long time to get that card out and then also get the enchantment on it, which that bit sucked. But on the rare occasion I got it out, it was a pretty good combination, until a bunch of my friends started taking a lot of instants that said, destroy enchantment or do this or do that, and then it didn't work so well for me. But we've really got some nice cards in here. I can definitely see a few decks being built, even just with this. Not even bothering necessarily using any of the boosters or anything. Just grab some cards, throw them in a box, shake it, and see what sticks. But yeah, this is a really quite an impressive range. So if you've got a few different releases that you enjoyed, and you want to be able to play them again at tournaments, go pick yourself up. Well, one of these starter packs for starters. I mean, look how many cards. There's so many, and you can build anything you want just out of this. And we haven't even looked at the booster packs yet, let alone any other cards that are potentially available. Sorry about the break there, lost my train of thought. But yeah, that's because there's bound to be a bunch of cards that we haven't seen yet because they're in one of these boosters, or for the collectors out there, one of the collector boosters. But we might be back on some land cards now. See, that one's just a land card. So I reckon you can have as many of these as you want. If I was playing against you, if I still played, that is exactly what I would do. I would, and if you wanted to do it, I'd let you do it too, obviously. But yes, with these being land cards, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? If you've got 20 of these red and white lands, for example, I don't remember if I showed this yet. If you've got 20 of those and you're playing a red-white deck, you know what? Take 20 of them. That's fine. That's not a problem. I'm cool with that. As long as you're cool with that. Because if you're not cool with that, but you expect me to be cool with that, I'm not going to play against you. Because this is a two-way thing. Whoa, sorry camera. Just give everyone motion sickness. We start moving on to some sacrifice this and sacrifice that. And then we're back to our dual land types. Jungle Hollow, we've just seen that one. Yeah, we got two of them. Two scoured barons. I'll try to hold at least one of them straight so that you can actually read them. And preferably not with my finger over the artwork. But we are getting towards the end. And at this stage, we are looking like we mostly have land cards. Which again, there's nothing wrong with that. There are definitely things you want if you're going to play. You typically want to get as many out as possible, as quickly as possible, so that you can start popping down creatures and casting spells, because you are not going to survive for too long if you don't have any creatures. So, the reason I've stopped there is because I've just realized that there's another 3 of this one. So, aside from what's in these that are also included in that box, that list of cards that you've just seen me go through is everything you can expect to get out of the brand new Magic the Gathering Foundations starter collection. So what we're going to do now is open up a couple of play boosters, open up a couple of collection boosters, so we can get a bit of an idea of what else we might see in these. A little bit disappointed there was no slivers in this box, although I suppose there could be some in here. But great range of cards, incredible way to get enough cards to put decks together for whatever color mana you want to go with. So I'll get this tidied up, and then we're going to open up, well, we're going to open up these. I do have a second one of these somewhere. I see it. All right. Yeah, so we're going to open up 2 collector boosters and 2, that's only 1, but we're going to open 2 of the play boosters. All right, so welcome back. Everything you have seen for the moment, such as this, and if you've watched the previous video, the other boxes, every card you have seen for the moment has basically been predetermined in its packaging. So it is specifically selected cards to effectively get you up and running. However, if you're more of a gambling person, you have these. So we have our standard collector boosters, which are 15 card packs, and these ones are more aimed towards collectors. So they are mostly going to be shiny, as you can see by the packaging, but there is a higher chance of getting the rare, mythical, very expensive cards in these. It's still a very low chance, but it is a higher chance than finding them in these. These are our 14 card play boosters. These are designed to be cards you play with the occasional potential collector card in there. And these are designed for people that like to buy cards and put them in a folder and look at them. So we'll start off first and foremost with a collector booster. We'll pop some cards off to the side so that I can grab those, or I can pop them down in between. And we're going to start off with this one here. So, no ASMR at the moment because you can all watch me struggle with the packaging. You're welcome. Okay. Right, so our first shiny card is a token. So we have a creature, well, a dragon, which has flying, 4/4, and then we have another dragon. However, this one is a 5/5 creature. We have the extended art exemplar of light, which is a angel, and this is a normal card. I'm a little bit surprised because this one's not exactly straight. I didn't think I bent them when I opened it. A familiar, 9 lives, also known as a cat. Legendary creature, Merfolk Noble. Scavenging Ooze. Raise the Past. A shiny land card. Inspiring Call. So these are the cards. If I was still collecting cards and playing with them, I want shinies. As I believe I said earlier, I must have been a crow in a past life because if it's shiny, I want it. And these are predominantly shiny. Now, having said that, as a kid, I would not know the difference between a collector booster and a play booster. I would assume they're the same thing, it's just you get more shinies. So, that was our first collector booster. We are going to move on to a play booster. And I'm also going to struggle to get into this packet. No, I'm not. These ones are easier. Surely, these should be just as easy to get into as these. But I always struggle with these ones. Anyway, we have our mandatory token, which is a cat and a very different cat, still a cat. And then we have our shiny out of that one. That you are pretty much guaranteed to get a shiny out of the play boosters. In fact, I think it says at least one foil, and then there is a chance that it's going to be a rare mythical, but it's like a 0.01% chance. I think it's written on the packaging actually. Let's see, can we read that? Yeah, less than 1% of boosters. So that's less than 1% of these. And then this. That also says less than 1% of boosters. I think some of them used to say like less than 0.01%. Could be wrong. Probably am wrong. Is it the Mandala effect? There's so many things that I could have sworn were how they were, or were a different way to how they actually are. But that's a lot of stuff to go into that we're not going to go into here, because we are here to enjoy some cards. And enjoy some cards, we certainly will. But we're definitely starting to see some very different cards to what we've seen in that pack as well as the previous video. And that is rather exciting. So going back to our other collector booster, which also does not want to completely open. However, that one opened easier. That was nice. Okay. So, first up, we have our Drake token. Basically a dragon. But otherwise, this one is a goblin on the back. We have our troll. Sorry, he's a giant. Why did I think it was a troll? Does anyone else think that this dude looks like a troll? Anyway, he's a giant. We have our planeswalker. Now, if this was shiny, yeah, that'd be nice as a shiny. Electro duplicate. Definitely bringing back some memories. It's just a little bit of a shame that I haven't come across any of my slivers yet, my beloved slivers. Alright, so we have another shiny here. This one actually has a little bit of a firmer, or not firmer, a rougher texture. Only a little bit though, compared to the other cards. Also, since I was thumbing this, I don't think you saw it properly. So apologies for that. But I'm liking the variety of cards that we're seeing here. It is a very nice variety. Like a lot of the recent releases obviously have been themed, which is good. There's nothing wrong with theming. But now we've got a variety of themes, and we can have, you know, vampires going against cat people, or just cats. There's been just cats in here. Alright, our last play booster, because I think this video has also gone on long enough. So thank you very much for joining us for not one, but two Magic the Gathering unboxing videos. And a huge thank you to Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering for giving us this awesome little package. Well, it's not really a little package, as lots. It's a massive package. Please don't clip that. But anyway, yes, thank you to Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering for sending this through. It really has brought back a lot of memories, and even though there's no cards that I've had in my previous decks, I've definitely seen some cards that some of my friends had in school, and that's really brought back some fantastic memories. So thank you everybody for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. Is there anything that you've seen us open up so far that has brought back memories for you? Or is there anything in here that you've seen that you're like, hey, I had that in my deck? Because I think this is going to go a long way to bringing back the original way that I used to play Magic the Gathering on my lunch break in school. So thank you everyone very much for joining us. We really appreciate the opportunity to make these videos. It is always fun seeing the new and creative artwork that your artists are bringing out. And if you're interested, head on down to your local gaming store or jump online, find out where you can go, and definitely consider getting yourself either one of these starter collection boxes, which is what we've just opened up, or in the previous video, we opened up the beginner box, which I have misplaced the top 4, so I can't show you that one. Yes, I can. I lied. So yes, either get yourself one of these beginner boxes if you've never played before. Effectively, you're going to get 10 playable decks that you can play in a very short space of time. Or, if you have been playing for a while and you want to run down some old memories, get yourself this starter collection box. Or better yet, get both. Because there are a lot of cards in both of these packs, and they seem to be incredible value for money. They'll get you up and running very quickly. Once again, thank you very much to Magic the Gathering and Wizards of the Coast. This has been an incredible experience.